Jason Orpheus, welcome.
Hello, Sarah. It's so nice to see you again.
I've been so excited. I've been so excited for this interview. Just because it's always lovely to catch up with people when you haven't seen them for a while. That's always fantastic. But you've had a whole new shift, a rebrand of name, of self.
Of everything, really. I think it was mostly post-pandemic. There was loss, there was grief, there was sacrifice, and I think it altered a lot of people on deep levels, particularly myself. It really made me look at who I was as an artist. It made me look at who I was as a human being, and I think I questioned my identity. What was I offering as an artist? What was I offering as a human being? It was a very existential period for me where I was questioning what I was putting out there in terms of music. Who was I doing it for? Was I doing it for myself? And was I still being authentic to my original mission statement? I was off my center. I was off my compass north. I wasn't honoring myself. I wasn't even writing about things that I necessarily wanted to write about in some of my songs. And that really bothered me because of the pressures I think that a lot of independent, emerging and struggling artists sort of go through, the self-compromise, I think, that a lot of artists experience. Particularly, I think, in a Cape Town context. Why was South Africa, and Cape Town in particular, following a formula that doesn't speak to our people, it doesn't speak to our historical experience? One of the things I had an issue with was that our industry post-94 has had this amazing opportunity to remodel the formula for our artists in our industry, where we could set our own trend on an international platform, but instead we choose to, by and large, adopt international standards that don't speak to the mental well-being of our artists or necessarily to pushing the individual success of our artists or highlighting the talent that we've got. And those were the kind of questions and conversations I sat with myself. So I went silent for the better part of last year. I stopped doing gigs. I stopped putting music out there. I stopped singing. I didn't even want to sing anymore.
The word of the year for last year was authentic, apparently. I know that some people sneer and go, oh, yes, authentic. But actually, I think that to do that is cowardly. Because the strength it takes to live as your most authentic self, or to at least have that as a goal, is enormous. When you then add that your career rests on it, mine does as well, there's a risk attached to that. What if people don't like my most authentic self?
What if they don't?
What if they don't?
It's scary.
It's really scary. And in the music industry, it is particularly. Which direction do I go in? Am I putting out music that I can guarantee is going to get played on there, and there? But do I enjoy singing it? Is it a creative output that I'm proud of? All of that stuff. I think it's incredibly brave what you've done. Really. How do you feel? We're going to hear Ghost in just a minute. How do you feel now about having put out music that you feel is you?
I've been working on new music painstakingly because I really wanted to take my time to write stuff in a genre that I was finally comfortable at. Because, my tastes have changed over the years. I started out in alternative rock, as you know.
Yeah.
And I've
Which always blows my mind.
It was my Alanis phase, man. I grew up, mid-90s, and those were my influences and my expressions. And I moved through all these genres, and I really sort of taste-tested everything like hors d'oeuvres in order to really sort of see what it was I liked, and do I want to fuse things together, and why am I limiting myself? Why is the industry limiting me to only moving in one direction in order to be successful, in order to get exposure? Ghost was something that I worked on, and I wanted it to be my first song. I never expected it to be a hit. I was very proud of the final product because it comes across as a song about loss and grief in terms of a romantic relationship. But the deeper questions I was asking myself was, who's really feeling like a ghost in this situation in life? Am I blaming others for haunting me? Or am I really haunting myself? Am I holding on and unable to let go of the things that have held me back, the things that have defined me, the things that have made me angry and sad and joyous at times? I wanted to use the song to introduce myself as Jason Orpheus. This is who I am. I'm not always going to write pop songs. I'm not always going to write hits. But I am going to write things that I hope people can identify with, as I'm on this journey right now, identifying with this new, I would say, version of myself. I grew up with a Christian mother and a Muslim father.
Okay.
And my father was so madly in love with my mom, he never asked her to change religions or anything like that. He was even fine that she raised us Christian.
Right.
But having grown older and, getting to know my father's family so deeply and considering myself a deeply spiritual person as well, I was very drawn to Islam. And I wanted to follow in that direction spiritually, because I felt it spoke to me. But when I was coming up with a new moniker, because I felt Ladeem was someone that represented all these things to me, and while there was a lot that came out of that I'm super grateful for, I felt that I didn't identify with Ladeem as an artist anymore. Ladeem is still a lot of things, and he's still here.
Yeah.
But my second name used to be Jason.
Okay.
And the road I grew up in when I was a child used to be Orpheus Crescent. And I felt that those two words spoke to me of a time when I was clean-slated, when I was unimpressed upon by life. I wasn't jaded, I wasn't molded, I could do anything I wanted to do, and I felt loved more than anything else at that particular time in my life. Just for existing, I was worth it. And I felt that it honored both my parents who had passed on, and it also took me back to a part of my roots, I would say.